Hello everybody, I'm Gwen Campbell-Mindes. Welcome to Gwen's Bookish Ramblings. My apologies for the awful scan. There was a thing with the scanner and a thing and a program and a thing, and it's terrible, I know. Anyways, Gulliver's Fugitives. Let's start with the fact that this is just like fan fiction. It's just as silly, just as really in a lot of ways self-indulgent. It has that same quality of fan fiction. And now that being said, nearly all of the Star Trek Next Gen tie-in novels that I've ever read, I admit I haven't read all of them, but a lot of them are very much like fan fiction. They are not fitted into the canon of the reality. They are sometimes, often self-indulgent. They are frequently silly. They are read by people who are just looking for more of Star Trek The Next Generation and who can't find it because they've seen all the episodes and there aren't going to be any more, and we are sad. Gulliver's Fugitives, though, is, it's kind of a big, glorious reference, and flogging to death of references to not really Earth literature, but human mythology. Gulliver notwithstanding. In point of fact, Gulliver is about the only character in this who is not derived from myth. And I suspect that the author may have gone for Gulliver's Travels, playing such a prominent role in this, for precisely the reason that most people know it. Most of us have read it. Most of us have had it foisted on us in high school, even if we didn't particularly enjoy it, which I'm sure many of you didn't enjoy it. I'm sure some of you did. It's certainly considered one of the great novels of English literature for a reason. But I think it was picked as much for its being well-known and fantastical images as it was picked for actual specific reasons. The thing is that this book, it opens with Troy having what turn out to be hallucinations. But the other part of how this book opens, right at the start, the very first chapter, it starts with a man who is trying to preserve fiction, because the bulk of this book takes place in a society, a sort of a post-apocalyptic society, that the Enterprise stumbles over, and these people decided that when Earth was in the midst of a post-atomic horror, these people decided to hop on a ship and get away and start their brand new life somewhere far away. And at some point, through some absolutely thoroughly 100% inexplicable set of choices, they decided that fiction was the same as lies, and that it was a disease, and therefore it had to be made verboten, and therefore they don't allow anything that is not verifiable truth. Funnily enough, they are not atheists, which I would have thought would be an automatic thing, because, I mean, really, if you're going to approach the Bible from a purely and strictly scientific perspective without any sort of faith in the unknown or higher beings or anything else, you're gonna be really disappointed with its connection to actual verifiable fact. I'm not going to get into a debate about the truth or falsity of anybody's religion, but you don't go to religion for verifiable fact. And in one of the more inexplicable things in this book, is the statement and belief that there is only one religion, and that one religion is the religion outlined in the Bible, and the Bible has been reviewed and verified as factually correct. I find myself vaguely wondering what a reviewed and for factual correctness Bible could possibly look like. Um, Picard at a point midway through the book actually is somewhat bitter as he says that they look up and they see a hand pointing in a direction, and instead of looking to see where it's pointing, they suck on the finger, mumbling to themselves over and over that it's a finger. And um, it's a very, very sharply pointed remark. And that's kind of what makes this book so enjoyable, besides being, a Star Trek Next Generation fan who's getting to just enjoy more adventures of the people on Star Trek Next Generation, is these moments and ideas and bits. This isn't a book that hangs together particularly well. Troy's hallucinations, which turn out to have been accidentally caused by a couple of alien anthropologists, don't really seem to go anywhere except that she discovers that she's been worried that she's suppressing her own feelings too much or something, and doesn't really go anywhere. The uh, the entire actual plot line, that is that the ship finds another starship that's been missing for several years, and go looking and discover this planet with its weird post-apocalyptic anti-fiction society who decide that they are going to destroy the incoming talks of fiction on board this ship by destroying the Enterprise and stuff, instead of, just letting them leave. And the fact that it turns out that the captain of the Huxley, which is the ship that went missing down there, had been brainwashed into being one of their leaders, and that they run, and that Troy manages to escape and hide with the dissenters, the people who want to keep fiction alive, and everybody is reunited and gets out by the skin of their teeth. The Enterprise and Starfleet people escaping by virtue of a transporter that has finally been fixed, and the dissenters by virtue of their alien bat dragon creatures that come to rescue them. And it's very nice, and a perfectly good storyline, but it's got all of these bits and pieces of stories that seem like the author is trying to draw parallels and create other lines of inquiry and myth and greater connections of things, but he's not really succeeding. That said, I nonetheless enjoyed it. I enjoyed the I enjoyed this desperation to keep fiction alive, this idea of people who have taken on these personas of characters of myth as part of their attempt to keep all this going. People who are preserving books um, at the risk of their lives, as somebody who really likes books, as somebody who likes actually turning pages and holding real books and reading words, it's an idea that speaks to me. And so I'm not sure that it will speak to everybody. A lot of people will be distracted by uh, probably misuses and misunderstandings of various mythological characters and stories. People will be distracted by Troy's whole uh, thing going with what she thinks are the other worlders and are actually just hallucinations of uh, human mythological gods coming to harass her, basically. Um, and those that whole thing, which comes to nothing. You'll be distracted by it the whole way, wondering when it's going to connect up, and it never does. You'll be distracted by Odysseus, that is a man whose name was Powell, but when he joined up with the dissenters, took on the name of Odysseus. Um, and his story doesn't really go anywhere. There are hints of romance between him and Troy, which doesn't really go anywhere. Data's poetry at the start I mean, it's a nice little uh, plot device, but it also doesn't really go anywhere. And there's a lot of things in this book that don't really go anywhere, and yet I still like it. I like wondering what Data was getting at with his poetry, which is so entirely ludicrous. I wonder what I enjoy. I enjoy all of Troy's interactions with these various gods, although the fact that they did pull the "you already know the answer, why won't you tell it to me?" Well, no, if I knew the answer, I wouldn't be asking. I did get a little bit uh, aggravated at that trope. But this is a good rip roaring tale. It's fun and it's exciting, and the danger feels real. And um, one of the nicest things, of course, is that you find yourself faced. You find yourself looking in this book. Um, Not so much for how do I put this? You don't find yourself looking in this book for the coherence, for other things. You find yourself just enjoying bits and moments and drama. And honestly, there's nothing really wrong with taking a moment to enjoy Data saying, "The teachings of Macaroon Erotica, doing a little thing we call three-toed minty fresh logo tissue. Quest for the golden aphids where they call the wind Mr. Conceited be gone. I walk down spanked mandrill strass with gently yielding fun bladder under warranty. Prometheus indicator light blinking through the hydrogen eternity boo-boo." And just enjoy it for what it is. Um, when Troy hallucinates that she is being rescued by Tezcatlipoca and Sekhmet, and Gaia and Gulliver, uh, you you just go with it. And this book does round out nicely in the end because it opens with a man who is carrying the contraband of Gulliver's Travels and basically throws the loose pages of the book over the side of a rooftop where it catches in the wind and finds its way to a girl who becomes one of the dissenters because she learns how wonderful fiction is, and ends with her. She doesn't remember Gulliver's Travels as is, but she's going to rewrite it. And I love books. And so I like this book because it's about books and culture and history and fiction. And ultimately, I think I can recommend it.